Your Honor, I move to make a motion. Motion, I'll be the judge of wrong or right. I'm ready to fight. I don't need rules, and neither do you. I don't need rules. This is the Community Solutions Podcast. Jason Bradley, Andrew Richter, taking a sledgehammer to the foundations of progressivism in this state and every other state we can reach.
Is that what we're doing?
That's what we're doing.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Let's see. So you don't follow the rules, right? That's the song?
Is that it?
Okay, that's what I thought I heard. I don't even have a smart ass remark to it. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. So what is it? Is it the Backstreet Boys?
No.
How about the? Let's see. Who else do I know? Wham? Is it Wham?
No.
It's not Wham.
No, it's not Wham.
I heard Wham the other day.
Oh boy.
All right, I don't know who it is.
It's a band from the 80s called Kick Tracy and a song Don't Need Rules.
Kick Tracy. Didn't you see in a movie?
You thinking of...
Oh, it's Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy,
yeah, okay, my bad. So it was a Tracy somebody.
Yeah. My word.
Jay, how are we this week?
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Okay, I got to mention something at the beginning, totally not political, before I get into something political.
Okay.
The 30th anniversary of, in my opinion, the greatest upset in sports history was very recent. Buster Douglas defeating Mike Tyson over in Japan.
That was that long ago?
1990. Now, Jay, I am old enough, and you are too, to remember when boxing... I would say boxing and baseball were the two biggest sports, but
yes.
I in the 80s, I could be wrong. Could have been football by then, but it's not fair because they own a day. But
right.
And I always the later guys, I always kind of gravitated to. In that era, you had Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran. You had just a great welter and middleweight fighting.
Absolutely.
Jose Torres was another one. But Mike Tyson is a total joke today. But at one time,
he was a beast.
He was I don't know how to describe him. I always say in the 80s, Michael Jackson and Mike Tyson became jokes later. But if you were a child of the 80s or a teenager back then, you remember when they were the hottest thing.
I remember watching Mike Tyson in the Olympics, and I was like, wow.
Well, the reason I say this is a good fight. I remember in the early 90s, too, when Holyfield and Riddick Bowe and Michael Moore and them fought. My friends, all of us didn't have cable. That's when we got our lawn mowing money together, so we'd buy it, and then my dad would go, I'll pay for it. Whenever we'd get the paint, we'd watch the fights. A fight was the biggest thing anywhere. And I remember when Tyson fought, but the reason I remember it so succinctly is I don't even know that it was ever broadcast on pay-per-view or HBO. I don't recall that because the time zone was goofy.
Right.
You didn't have TiVo or anything to and I found out that Tyson lost by watching Channel 11 News. It led his majors and Randy Shaver was the sports guy, and it led off the newscast that Mike and I didn't believe it.
Right, he was beating everybody like within a minute.
Well, I remember the Michael Spinks fight. That was in July. It was in the summer of '88 or '89 because I remember there was all this hype about it, and Spinks had been a former IBF champion, and Tyson won in 2 minutes. It was just, what the hell was that? It was like, man, if a former champ, this guy's never going to get beat.
Right.
And then he was just another fighter after losing to Douglas. I mean,
I know.
And Douglas was nothing after that either. I mean, it was like he was like the real, I don't know. Even he was a bigger Rocky than Chuck Webner ever was, So it's kind of like, but I recall that so vividly, not believing that he had lost. It was inconceivable that somebody could beat him. 30 years ago now, Jay.
That's
I know. What's happened?
That's sad. What's happened to my life? Don't spit your water all over the place.
Yeah, but it's just, it's one of those things. I just can't believe it. 42-1 were the odds. It is the greatest upset in boxing history.
Yes.
I would argue sports history, because it's not a team sport. I always feel like if an individual has to do everything, it's different than the 1980 Olympic team. It's different than the Jets winning the Super Bowl that one year with Namath. I think it was a bigger deal. The greatest upset ever. And it happened on CB radio in the United States. Nobody saw it, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose, because you say, the guy beats Tyson, then kind of goes back into obscurity. He's kind of like Clubber Lang.
Evander Holyfield knocked him out in the second round 6 months later.
I suppose, I'm trying to think of like Ali versus Frazier, and it was a huge deal when Frazier went down, but it probably wasn't quite the upset that one was.
It's a huge deal when Frazier beat Ali, too. It was maybe the two best of all time, if you think about it. Played, we'll never know. Jack Dempsey never lost, and I don't know. Joe Louis was obviously great, but you don't know. They never had an equal in their era.
Right.
The way Frazier and Ali had, so it's hard to say. Just, I know I respect MMA and Ultimate Fighting, which I think has taken over the boxing audience of today. That's what they watch, and I do respect those guys because they are pretty incredible at what they do. But I'll tell you, great boxing match. I miss it.
It is.
Don't you miss
a rare
that?
thing? Yeah.
No, it's just.
They have them. They don't have the pull that MMA does now.
They don't. They don't have the organized championships anymore. They got too many divisions.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a charismatic champion. There's just nothing that I think boxing is too rare. I think when you have, in today's climate, when you have one or two big fights a year, you think you could sell that, but I think the public becomes disinterested quick.
But I guess I need to disagree with that a little bit. I think Fury is a pretty charismatic guy, but most people don't know who he is either.
Well, I had Mayweather and Pacquiao done like a series of fights when they were younger. It might have revived the sport a lot, but they dicked around about money and what network. By the time they fought, Mayweather was 38, and if they had fought younger, Oscar De La Hoya brought up the welterweights for a while, and he was very popular. But I don't know. I don't know if boxing will ever make a comeback and be what it was a long time ago. I know things are cyclical. It can change, but I think it's going to be. It's going to be tough. I just think that boxing is just kind of one of those lost arts.
Yeah,
because remember, it's boxing,
right?
Fighting. There's a big difference. There's
right. In boxing, you can't give a roundhouse kick to the side of the head and knock somebody out.
Well, and you got to pace yourself to go 12 rounds or whatever it is nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't think it's 15 anymore. I think it was one of Tyson's weaknesses. What if he was a headhunter, and if he didn't intimidate you or knock you out right away, anytime he had to go a long distance, he got beat. And that's not a great fighter. Great fighters. Muhammad Ali knocked out guys in the first round, and he beat guys in 15 rounds by decision. It was great through and through. And, are we ever going to see that again? I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Anyhow, we've had some interesting political stuff go on. I'm just giggling. I'm still giggling at not having official Iowa results yet. My prediction was a little off, Jay. But
mine was pretty close, huh?
What was yours again?
Sanders.
Sanders didn't win.
Like I said, it was close.
Yeah.
He was a very close second to Buttigieg.
I'm a little surprised. I'm surprised at how weak the vice president was.
Yeah, I'm not.
I am, because I thought in the end people would, why do I always think people will be reasonable in the end?
I don't know.
And here's the thing. A new national poll just came out. Biden's still number 2. It shows you how worthless national polls are.
Well, and here's the thing, though. When you look at some of these early states like Iowa and New Hampshire, Nevada, Biden does really well with like African Americans and things like that, and those are not states where there's a very heavy population of African Americans. True, but in South Carolina, although he's dipping a lot in national polls as well. I mean, he's still number 2, but he's
the problem is that he can't seem to get it together.
Yeah.
Look, he's got to hang on through March 3rd because here's why: those states are already voting.
Right.
He already has votes in Minnesota, in California, in Texas. Yeah. He's probably won delegates already.
He probably has.
No reason. And I'll tell you what, this is the screwy thing. The way the delegates are proportioned, I've heard this my whole look. I've read about 1968. Okay, that to me that's in a history book. We could have it this year, and I'm not kidding, because the way the winner take all states are gone now.
Yes.
This is a Bernie switch, by the way.
Yes.
And this could deny him the nomination, because I'm going to say nobody gets 50%. And
that's kind of what I was
You look
saying,
at New Hampshire, he got 60% of the vote in 2016 and 25% in 2020. So it's a win. You can win a game 2-1. You can win a game 10-0.
Right.
And he has to accept the win. He's still losing in delegates right now.
Yeah.
He's still a delegate behind Pokey Pete, or whatever we're calling him.
Piccolo
now.
Pete.
Piccolo Pete. Yeah. He's still a delegate behind. I mean, Biden has 7 delegates and Sanders has like 23.
Yeah.
It's not one big state,
race.
And that can flip like that.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I'm just laughing at how, you still can't get results from it. And Amy Klobuchar, my prediction on her would have been right had Iowa ended right away.
Right.
The fact that stayed and nobody could win, now they're recanvassing. The chair of the DNC just makes a fool of himself every day.
He just stepped down.
Huh?
He just stepped down.
I didn't know he stepped
today.
down.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, he's just made he's an idiot. And, but this proportional delegates is a real issue because I don't understand how anybody with 8 candidates in the race, because they can stay in. Tulsi Gabbard will stay in. She has no reason to drop out. Steyer will stay in.
I don't know why. But
I don't know, probably because he can buy this and that. Bloomberg, who isn't on the ballot in any of these states, but we know he's not going anywhere.
Nope.
Buttigieg isn't going to drop out. Klobuchar's not going to drop out now either.
No.
I don't know if Pocahontas will stay in or not.
Yeah.
But why not?
Yeah. And I don't know about Deval Patrick.
Yeah, he dropped out yesterday.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stuff happens so fast now. It's like.
But here's the thing. I mean, and in Iowa, you have to get 15% to get any delegates. New Hampshire, you had to get 10.
Yeah.
So you walk out with nothing if you're at 9.7. It's the rules are so wacky.
Yeah.
They have the most undemocratic process to pick a candidate, and they call themselves the Democratic Party. Okay, so it's pretty screwy. I just think there is because here's ultimately the Dems are still, in my opinion, they're backed in a corner because either they pick Sanders, go all out socialist,
right,
or they steal it from Sanders.
And all the socialists riot.
And you're going to have a 1968 convention on your hands. Oh, yeah. Because the superdelegates are going to come in and they're not Bernie people. They're the Clinton-Obama machine. That's who the superdelegates are, with a few exceptions, because there's members of Congress like AOC, and people like that. But 80% of them are Hillary Obama people. There's no way that they're going to pick Sanders. No chance. They'll probably be bought off by Bloomberg anyway. So, I mean, look, I still think it's a long shot for that to happen because I hear that all the time. It's going to call it a convention. There's going to be protests. There's going to be people rioting in the streets. It actually could happen.
It could. I mean, I forget there was a.
You got your popcorn ready and your.
I'm glad it's in Milwaukee and not
exactly.
Minneapolis.
They can have them.
Yeah, that's terrible. I don't know. I think that there's a really good chance, and I know, things start to take shape and everything can change, and, it's still really early. And
it's really early, but 40 states will have voted by March 17th.
Yeah.
So you're going to have 80% or more.
Yeah.
Because of the size of those states.
I would like to know at what point will we know that somebody's not going to reach the threshold. I mean, how many states?
Probably by March 17th. Because
you think?
You got to figure 80% of the delegates or more.
I guess it depends who takes what, though. I mean, if they're within, the margin of striking distance or not.
Right, but if they are, there's no reason for them to drop out.
Oh, right.
They might as well stay to the end. And look, it's going to come down to one or two people versus Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to happen. I don't know who those one or two people. I still say it's Hillary Clinton, but she can't. She doesn't have the ballot access now.
Yeah,
but she could probably get it if she wanted it.
Probably.
I'm sure that the Democrats changed the rules so Bloomberg can debate. Why would they change the rules for? I don't know if they could do it in Minnesota, but I mean, I don't think the DFL here is above doing that. So I mean, I just think I'd like to say it's fascinating to watch. It really isn't. It's really boring to watch. But I mean, you need 1,990 delegates or something, and nobody has more than like 25 right now. So why is everybody so panicked about dropping out?
We've had two. There's 48 states left to go.
I mean, I don't understand it. To me, it makes. And here's the thing. You're right, though. To this sense, somebody has to have a path, and I just wonder where that path is. I mean, if you're somebody like Klobuchar and you finished 5th and 3rd, it's really. I mean,
you're trending upward. You're not going to drop out, obviously, but
you trended up. You spent every waking minute in Iowa and came in 5th. That's pretty bad. You went into New Hampshire as the non-Sanders, non-Joe Biden, nobody's vetted her, scrutinized. Nobody in Minnesota has either.
Right.
I mean, now the time she's going to get her anal exam, and we'll see what happens at that point.
Well, we'll see if that happens or not.
I think it will. I do.
I think we should probably nickname her Dorothy Hamill because she skated through everything up till now.
She has. But, I mean, Warren got bad press, and it hurt her.
Yeah.
Biden's getting horrible press right now. It's killing him.
Boy.
One bad finish by Klobuchar, and people will be calling on her to get out. So
I mean, and I don't know. I think Joe Biden's luck is about to get worse too. So
I don't know. Probably, but
when Grassley comes out, Senator Grassley comes out with the stuff that he's looking at right now, it's going to get worse.
Well, my question is, where has the Senate Judiciary Committee been this entire time?
Right.
I mean, they could have started hearings on Biden's son in Ukraine last summer. What have they been doing?
I don't know.
Let the House do whatever they want to.
Yeah.
And,
But now, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the document that came from Latvia, but there is proof that
it's written in Latvian. So I didn't see it.
There's proof that there's money laundering occurring between Burisma and Privat Bank, and some went to I think
the whole cabal there.
The guy that kind of ran that organization would have been the guy. I don't know as Joe Biden how you put your son in there, but he's like a really bad oligarch, like cutting the heads off of people with chainsaws. Well, he hired people to do it. He didn't actually.
Well, that's never offended anybody in the Democratic Party. So,
what we're solving the population problem.
Defended Kathy Griffin until the end went. So
she didn't do it for real, but this guy did.
The visual, I think, is.
Kolomoisky,
If you did that, if you did that to a private citizen, you'd be under arrest.
But anyways, apparently there's proof of money laundering that went on, and so things are not.
Then I hope he wins.
Up for
then
Joe
I hope
Biden.
He wins.
Yeah.
Is it all moot anyway? I mean, is
know.
it all moot next November?
I mean, that's the thing. It's politics. Everybody seems to get a pass, unless they don't.
Everybody seems to get either over anal or nobody says a word about them. And I don't know what it is about Amy Klobuchar. I don't know if she knows where the bodies are buried or what, but nobody seems to, even her opponents don't go after her. And I cannot. How does she get away with being a moderate? There's nothing moderate in her record.
I know.
Put her record against Ilhan Omar's, and I want to see 5 differences.
She's so nice.
Oh, bull. She even got you.
Yeah.
She got you whipped.
She does not. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I don't like devil's advocate.
I know that she's just as bad as all of them. So,
and just with all due respect, I cannot listen to that whiny voice. I just cannot. Oh my God. You know what? I always say this: if you want to torture me, put me in a basement, tie me to a chair, and put Waterboy on and push record or replay 100 times. Okay,
yeah.
But an Amy Klobuchar's speech might have overtaken it by now.
Oh boy.
Or that or 50 First Dates. Remember, my two least favorite movies of all time, even though I actually like Adam Sandler, because I love what's
Happy Gilmore.
Well, yeah, because I like the Bob Barker scene. But what was the other one with Barrymore? What was that other one?
Wedding Singer.
Wedding Singer.
That's
that was
good.
See, and that's why 50 First Dates sucks so bad, because I loved those two had great chemistry.
Yeah.
And 50 First Dates, the worst. Oh God,
I think
awful.
It was that bad.
God, jeez. I'll tell you what.
He's done far worse movies than that one. I'll tell you that.
He has? Okay. I don't know. Everybody says I'd like some Big Dad movie, and I've never seen that
one's
either.
pretty
I never
good.
saw
Big
that.
Daddy.
I never saw that.
That one's pretty good.
All right, maybe I'll give it a reprieve. I mean, he's not so bad. He's okay. I just don't like those movies. Anyhow, Jay, on to business.
Yes.
Do you know, that we have problems with violence and stuff at transit stations here in.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course, it's mostly Minneapolis and St. Paul, where everything bad happens.
Right.
Do you know the latest solution to solve? Oh, and people not paying their fares either.
Yes. Oh.
People just getting on, and we're relying on the honor system. I mean,
well, that's always a good way to do it.
Well, let me say this: if you're having a lot of crime around light rail fares and stuff, what are the odds the criminals are going to pay to get on?
None.
Yeah, if you're going to break a law at the station, why would you follow the law getting on the?
Right.
So you got our brilliant legislators have devised a plan to fix this, Jay.
Really?
And do you know what that plan consists of?
Oh, increasing enforcement with the Metro Transit Police, right?
Okay, now you're being logical again. Try to be illogical.
What about not enforcing fare payment?
Not enforcing fare payments. So now, if you don't do that, naughty,
Yes.
instead of sending Enos and Cletus and Roscoe to go get you, good you, and I love it, you are now going to not be prosecuted for it. So how about we just make fares? Because I think there's a method. I think there's a reason behind it. And of course, it's led by the Fonz.
Yeah. Well,
actually, I don't know if he's leading it. I'm just blaming him.
Hey.
Arthur Fonzarelli Winkler III Jr. here in District 46. Not a strand of hair out of place. Okay, I'm sure he's for it, even though I don't know if he is or not. I just blame him every time something happens. So, what I think the ultimate goal, I don't think this is an accident. I think they know how stupid this proposal is. What do you think the end game is, Jay? I mean, what do you really think the end game is?
What's equity?
No. I mean, that's how they'll sell it.
Yeah, that is how they'll sell it.
The end game is to do what the left always does.
They want to increase ridership on the trains so that they believe that car ridership will decrease.
Yeah, so more criminals getting on. That's a great way to increase the ridership.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, they want to make it free. They want to make it free for everybody.
Yep.
Oh, well, we can't collect the fares, so let's just not try.
Right.
So we'll make it free.
Yeah.
We're not subsidizing it, right? Your tax dollars don't go to light rail, Jay.
Not at all.
I mean, so how about, here's an idea. Let me expand this idea.
Yes.
You and I, tomorrow, we ought to get on the bus.
Yes.
And not pay our fare.
Yeah.
Just break through. We'll be like Speed. We'll just jump on the bus while it's moving, climb in there and bust through and tell Sam to drive 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And we'll just sit there.
That's a good plan.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
And just see if everybody does it, then riding the bus will be free and it won't be a crime to do it.
There we go. I like the way you
Remember,
think.
we are community solutions. We come up with ideas to fix this stuff, but it brings up a broader problem, and that is this unequal enforcement of the law. It's the breakdown of the rule of law. We've had a total breakdown, especially in big cities in this country.
Yeah.
We have had a breakdown of the rule of law. It now enforcing the law is mean. Oh. It's not fair. It's racist. There's inherent racism, Jay, in making somebody pay for a bus service.
Well, you know, it is. It's a bad deal. You know.
So you're agreeing with them?
No, of course I'm
I
not.
pay you to agree with me on this show.
You pay me in what? Meatballs? And,
There's some popcorn I dropped on the floor. You can have that.
You just outed yourself to the people that clean this place.
Yeah.
He's the guy that leaves the popcorn on the floor.
I'm the jerk. Sorry.
No, I mean, it is popping up all over the country, and we're going to cover some of those ways today and how these cities are letting people get away with things in the name of equity, in the name of, making the playing field level for the disadvantaged.
But isn't that what the bus and stuff is supposed to serve anyway?
Yeah.
They're already getting a discounted price. The taxpayers are already paying the majority of this stuff.
Right.
I mean, at what point? I mean, college for free, healthcare for free. I mean, everything, we are getting dangerously close. We may even be there already. Of having a country where half the people the laws apply to, and half the people the laws don't apply to. I mean, aren't we getting dangerously close to that? I mean, let's pretend. Like I used a dumb example with the bus, but I mean, if you're poor or if you're a minority or whatever, can you do anything in the name of being poor or being a person of color? Steal from the grocery store. Well, can't send that person away. We can't prosecute that person because, blah, 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 blah. We'll decriminalize stealing oranges because they might need it.
Right.
They might die.
You never know.
Their kids don't have free and reduced lunch during the summer.
Well.
How do they live? I mean, this is a byproduct of government dependence. And the thing is, I mean, I am fanatical, Jay, about equality under the law.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fanatical about it. Okay, and I think of great words, and I'm going to use Martin Luther King here, and I'm not doing that to stoke any race or anything like that. Remember, everybody remembers the "I have a dream."
Yes,
but nobody remembers the next line. That my 4 little children will be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we in that? We're
miles away.
I've never seen it in my lifetime so bad. I mean, you can't go to a school board meeting without listening to, gotta get the kids on free and reduced lunch to play soccer.
Mm-hmm. They need breakfast too.
It's like, what does that have to do with their learning?
Yeah.
No, you know what they need? They need to learn the skills to be a successful adult.
Yes.
They need to learn history, English, science, math. That's what they need to learn. Kid gets suspended. What does everybody focus on? They don't focus on the act.
No, you can't do that. That's racist. Andy.
Exactly. You focus on the teacher, the administrator, what color they are, how many people of that color are getting.
What's their home life like?
Exactly. Did dad take off, and are they bipolar? Are they schizophrenic? Do they have social anxiety disorder? Are they off their medication or do they have herpes? What is the? I mean, I'm serious. There's no. If you teach people that there are no consequences for their actions, you give them no incentive to change what they're doing.
Right.
It's like telling your kid, don't touch the stove. But if you touch the stove, you can still go watch TV go watch Gilligan's Island reruns for the next 6 hours. Yeah, go right ahead. Does that work in any culture or anything?
No, it never does.
So I mean, it is like Jay, you said, this is going on everywhere. This is not a Minneapolis thing. It's not just a California, New York thing. Although we'll get to those states.
Yeah.
And it could be coming to a city near you. How many cities have this equity stuff? Social justice warriors coming out of 4th grade, at the local school.
Well, and that's how they're taught too, and it's on purpose that they're taught that way.
Get into the young heads of mush.
Yes.
You must do it.
Yeah, it amazes me because it is. We're conditioning our kids at a very young age that it's okay. There's reasons why why that person acts like that. They're good reasons, and we need to just respect the individual, and we need to allow them to act like that and continue to act like that because they really can't help it. Instead of breaking out the old Board of Education and giving a whap on the hind end.
Okay, forget what the nuns used to do. But I mean, what kind of a message is that to send to kids, like I said, about what happens when they do something? I mean, you cheat on a test. Is somebody going to go, you didn't get your free breakfast this morning, so, we're going to... I mean... You're setting up Jim Crow laws in reverse.
Yeah.
I mean, I know might be an offensive way to put it, but if you create one law for one people, and what amazes me is I hear the same people who support this stuff talking about corporations have too much power and the rich have this and that and blah, blah, blah. They don't follow the rules, blah, 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 blah. Well, aren't they doing the same thing?
Yeah, they are.
They're saying, okay, the have-nots can take whatever they want from the haves. All you got to do is hire a politician to do it.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to put it this way.
Yes.
If I broke into your house and stole, all 29 cents in the jar, your jar in your bedroom.
That's about right, yeah.
Okay.
Have you been in my bedroom? That's a pretty close count.
I know where it is. I don't know that I've walked in. Okay, fine, your kitchen then. Okay, I've been in your kitchen. Okay, so I mean, and I stole something. If I broke in and stole something for you, I committed a felony, and I'm going to get prosecuted. I know you'd prosecute me. And so anyway,
I'd throw the book at you.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Yeah.
But if I hired a politician to go in there and take it from you forcibly,
right,
that's all right. Why in the name of but if I did it in the name of helping the poor, Jay.
Yes.
I stole it. Okay, but I did it in the name.
Absolutely.
I did it for the children.
Well,
you know what I mean? I did it for the poor. I did it for the environment. You care, don't you?
Oh no. No, I really don't.
I really don't either. But
I mean, don't get me wrong. I care about children very much, but I care about helping them the right way.
Yeah,
and that's the whole thing. I mean, when you look at the libertarian principle of do no harm, and you've got a government that by force is stealing money from you, or by force they're allowing people to get away with doing certain things to you without any repercussions, you're violating that principle.
You're violating it, and you're encouraging more of it.
Yes.
Now, what do you got from the National League of Cities? Is that where you got this?
No, this is from the Texas Tribune.
Oh,
just because you had brought up the, coming into my house and stealing all 29 cents. I know we talked about this before, but I mean, it's still an ongoing issue. Texas prosecutors, including the Dallas County Attorney General, want to keep low-level criminals out of overcrowded jails. And John Cruzat is the district attorney's name. He announced he wouldn't prosecute some low-level crimes, including certain theft offenses. Somebody needs something and they can prove that it's something they need, that it would not be prosecuted. That's, to me, I mean, that blows my mind.
Define the word need.
Yeah.
I mean, 80% of what's in my house I don't need.
Right.
I have it, but I own it. I don't need it.
Right.
So if I took everything out of your refrigerator, and all the clothes out of your, and then, I'm homeless. I don't have anything.
Well, be careful now. You can't cross the $750 threshold.
Nothing in your closet is worth, more than.
I've got a gold jacket.
Yeah, but it's made of pyrite.
Well, that's.
Is that original 49er one? You get that?
Got that from my days on the golf circuit. Of course, if you've seen me play golf, you know how full of garbage I am. But
I've seen you play horseshoes. That was pretty bad.
That was pretty bad. You're right.
If you could bounce it in, you'd have done great at it. No. But here's the thing. You're saying the same thing in Seattle and Kings County. The DA is not prosecuting low-level drug offenses. And the low level, and this is interesting, is you can possess it, but not possession with the intent to sell. So if I have a warehouse of stuff, I can get prosecuted. If I get caught with, I don't even know drug terms, a 1E or whatever, I don't know what you call it. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bag of orange sunshine. I'm not going to be. I don't know.
Did you make that up?
I saw that on Saturday Night Live once. If I get caught with that, but I mean, the intent to sell is a problem because if I'm a dealer now, I just carry low amounts on me. And how does anybody know if I have an intent to sell or not?
That's the thing. I mean, why carry little amounts? I didn't intend to sell it. I intended to use it, but he gave me an offer I couldn't refuse.
Oh, that's true. I got it. They got the Columbus Day discount. I don't know. But I mean, you bring up an important point about, I mean, an attorney is supposed to enforce the law, not decide what laws they're going to enforce. I mean, it's kind of like me saying, well, I don't believe in speeding laws, so I'm going to drive 100 miles an hour down the street.
As a county attorney, you're
taking an oath.
Right. You're not elected to make laws.
Yeah.
You are elected to enforce the ones on the books.
You are the cold-blooded enforcer of those laws. You are the highest legal person in that entire county.
Yeah.
And can't you just see that seeping everywhere to every county anywhere? I mean, think about the consequences of that. Somebody doesn't want to enforce abortion law. Somebody doesn't want to enforce, we see it with immigration too, but somebody doesn't want to enforce name your law. Right. I'm not going to prosecute that. I'm not going to arrest people for that. You can money launder. You can do whatever you want to. And if I don't think it's worth my time, or if the jail's a little too crowded, we got handing out too many weenie tots at lunch, then I'm not going to do it. I mean, that's a recipe for chaos.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, a total breakdown in the enforcement of the law. And look, I don't agree with every law on the books, obviously.
No.
But we got a process to do this.
Yep.
And it's to change the damn laws that you don't like.
Absolutely.
And what has happened to, here's my question. Why aren't people at City Hall in these cities breaking down the door and going, because I mean, you couldn't hold me back in some of these cities if this were happening.
Yeah.
Right. If I looked out and saw, what you see in San Francisco, I might not hold back, period, let alone go to City Hall and hold back.
Right.
That somebody does stuff like what they do, in my neighborhood, on my property, or whatever. Right. And to say that somebody who's poor is always the victim, never can be held responsible, never can, and more importantly, has no incentive to improve their own life.
Right. I don't know in San Francisco how you solve that. The Tenderloin has been, a very sketchy district for a long time, full of people doing drugs and, Well, you've got the elitists who run everything.
Yeah. And believe me, they don't go down the streets where people are, nobody's camped out in their front yards.
Right.
You got Silicon Valley, and you got, Nancy Pelosi doesn't have anybody tenting in their front yard. She'll tell you that you have to be tolerant of it where you live.
Right.
But she doesn't have to. She's got her gated community, keeps all the garbage out, and she won't say that, but that's what she's really doing. Now, here's another thing. I want to get onto this stop and frisk stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got Mighty Mike.
Yes.
Boy, I'll tell you.
Mike.
Mini Mike.
Yeah.
Mini Mike, you complete me. I tell you, he is. What's Trump, about 6'3"? He's pretty tall.
Yeah, he is pretty tall, yeah.
He might step on Bloomberg and not notice if the two of them ever crossed paths, which I don't think they will.
That guy is.
Yeah, but I mean, but Bloomberg, I mean, people have heard stop and frisk. I think they've heard the term. But what it actually is and what it actually does, how did he ever get away with this as mayor of New York? That's what I want to know.
Well, because he's the mayor of New York.
Okay, but we heard nobody's above the law, right? Haven't we? How many times have we heard that from Eric Swallowwell and Adam Sniff and these? How many times have we heard them talk about nobody's above the law?
Well, you know that's situational, Andrew.
Yeah, well, I guess so.
It is. I mean, you don't. There's certain people you just don't go after, and it doesn't matter what they do. And there's certain people you go after, and it doesn't matter if they've done anything or not. You've got, and that's part of why we have such a problem with lawlessness in this country is because it is situational. And so did something, but it's not really wrong. But we're going to look the other way.
I get that, but how can you argue that nobody's above the law and then do what's happening in these big cities? How do you possibly reconcile the two?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I don't have an answer either, but I mean, stop and frisk, Jay. Let's examine that for a second. And this is, I'm paraphrasing what the former mayor has said publicly, and he's dancing around it now, avoiding talking. He's in damage control,
right?
And I don't know why. I don't know why he thought this wouldn't come out or what. I don't know how he's dumber than I thought, but stop and frisk, basically, according to the former mayor, was. We're going to take a bunch of minorities, quote, throw them up against a wall, and disarm them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, forget the racially charged wording there.
Right.
There's this little piece of... I used to carry this in my back pocket all the time, Jay. It's called the Constitution.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. If a policeman grabbed me and threw me up against the wall while I was walking down the street,
yes,
I'd sue that city so bad I'd take it over. I'd take over the neighboring cities. I would take over. I would create my own world out of New York.
Yes.
And then to disarm people. So first you violate their Fourth Amendment rights.
Yes.
Then you violate their Second Amendment rights.
Right.
And you do all this in about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And
you do it faster than St. Louis Park can approve green stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tobacco 21. They didn't even do it.
Yeah, Tobacco 21.
They couldn't even read the consent agenda that fast.
Yeah.
But literally, just because your minority has as much of a right to bear arms as I do.
Yes.
Okay? They have as much a right to run down the street as I do. They have as much a right to unreasonable search and seizure as anybody. And basically Mike Bloomberg is saying, if I see a minority walking down the street, my police officers can do whatever they want to that person.
Yeah. And that's not right. Think of all of the problems when you look all around the country, whether you're looking at, the Michael Brown incident or whether you're looking at, the things that have happened, even here with the Officer Noor,
yes.
You can't have, most of the police are good, but you have some that take it a little too far. You can't just have them doing whatever they want.
But remember, the police are following orders.
Right.
They're being told what to do.
Right.
But you're giving them that free reign. And how many people, in the minority community don't quite trust the police to begin with?
Yeah.
You're adding that friction. You're making it worse. Okay. We melted down a few guns that somebody probably lawfully had or maybe did not, but you had no right to search for it.
Right.
How did that ever hold up in a court is what I want to know.
I have no idea.
I don't know. But coming to a city near you, again, It's just like all of this stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's to stop? If stop or shake and frisk or whatever it's called, if that's legal in New York, what makes it illegal anywhere else?
Yeah, I think it's kind of its own animal. I mean, you had Bloomberg, who
in New York it could be. But.
In New York, I mean, Bloomberg was a Republican, then he was a Democrat.
Yeah,
and,
depending on what he ate for breakfast.
But I mean, he's the kind of guy that he loves to tell you what you can do, what you can't do. I mean, banning certain size sodas,
French fry tax,
right? All the things that he did when he was mayor of New York. I mean, he's a dictator. He loves to be in charge of people. He loves to tell people what to do, and you don't have that everywhere, and I think it's a little different flavor. I don't think you would see stop and frisk in Minneapolis. I think because I mean, just look at the policies in Minneapolis, where we're not going to do anything about all the gang members that hang out downtown and threaten the people that go from place to place to place. We're going to allow the muggings to continue.
Again, it's another selective enforcement. Mm-hmm. It's another, if it's a gang member and they're minority, we're going to leave them alone.
Right.
So, I mean, so isn't that a green light to mug anybody anywhere?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not, then you have unequal law again. You have the laws not applying to who you decide. It's a violation of every oath you take as an elected official.
Right.
But I mean, here's the thing, too. Where is the outrage at this? Where is this being asked at a presidential debate? Where is the coverage of any of this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you don't see it. You're out to really dig for it.
No, you'll see it. You'll see it. One or two programs on Fox News. Mm-hmm. You'll see James O'Keefe or somebody do an undercover thing.
Yeah,
you read it at Breitbart. And it will go nowhere after that.
Right.
It will go no place. I mean, how do you, I mean, I don't understand. How does the biggest state in the country get away with everything they get away with? I mean, California used to be the place people dreamt about.
Right.
Now it's a place people can't, the middle class is gone. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've created a monarchy there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have the Attorney General saying, the Attorney General of California has threatened to sue companies that report to ICE.
Yeah.
I mean, really? I mean, but California is where it's just, I mean, out of control. I mean, you can have people tenting on private property. The private property owners are too scared to call anybody because they don't want to be called racist. They don't want to be called this or that. The police they have to be given stand down orders. What else makes any sense?
Right. Well, and then when you've got on speed dial all these groups that love to come protest.
Yeah, they bust people in who can't speak English from another state or another country, or who knows where the hell from. I mean, it's not worth the paper it's written on.
Right.
But the total breakdown in law enforcement, the total idea that all men are created equal in front of God, because it's the belief in a higher power that is where our founding comes from.
I agree. I think that one of our biggest problems is that we don't have a moral foundation anymore. We're not footed anywhere.
How do we change that, though?
Well, we've got to become a people that realize first that there's a problem.
But our culture, Jay, is if anything, something encouraged to be shamed at.
Right.
I mean, it's okay to make fun of Christians all day long. You make fun of another religion. No, that's not allowed.
No.
So, I mean, our symbols are getting torn down.
Yeah.
Our heroes are being tarnished. Streets are getting renamed.
Yes.
I mean, it's
lakes. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know if or when it'll ever turn around again. And our young people are being taught this garbage. So, I mean, what'll ever turn it around? I don't know. I mean, the breakdown of the family.
Yeah.
The minority community is where it's really bad. You don't have any minority leaders talking about it.
Yeah.
They won't touch it.
And I don't understand the reason for
I don't
that.
get it either. Okay, Jay, let me tell you something.
Yes.
You look at a problem kid. Okay, I don't mean a problem kid as in they're a killer. I mean the problem kid is in getting in trouble, not doing their homework, whatever. Yeah. I bet I could think of 3 or 4 things in that kid's life, no matter what color they wear. And I guarantee you 2 of them will be true.
Yeah.
Don't have stable home. Got one parent gone. I don't mean parents who are divorced or something,
right,
because you can still be a parent. I mean, that doesn't change. There's substance abuse going on, something like that. I guarantee you something like that's going on. The kid's unsupervised. Something like that is going on. That breakdown has had consequences everywhere.
Yeah.
And we're just recycling people in the same, I mean, and we've thrown money at this problem. We've created every program on the face of the earth. We don't prosecute anybody. We don't, and nothing changes.
Yeah.
So where is the moral? If you're a 16-year-old kid and that's what you've experienced, how do you change?
Again, it starts at home and building a moral foundation, getting back into church.
Absolutely.
And we've, like I said, become disconnected from these things. And because of that, we kind of make our own way and decide for ourselves what's right and what's wrong. And anytime that happens, we find a way to justify the things that we want to do. And anytime we get into justifying the things that we want to do, it really puts anything on the table. It allows us to be able to do anything, because if we can make a case for it, by all means, we can take it, we can do it, we can perpetrate it. And I think that it is important to make a conscious decision that we're going to turn back to these things. I'm not trying to put us back in a box. I'm not trying to say, oh, the old ways are the better ways, and back in the day,
I do that a lot, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, you don't sound so much like that. You sound more like maybe we both do the guys that sat in the booth on the Muppet Show.
That who I sound like?
Maybe yeah. Maybe we're more like that. That wasn't half bad. You're right. That's all bad. Yes. But there's truth to it, though, too. And I think as long as we decide, it's all right, you can do whatever you want. It's okay. We'll let you slide this time. It's okay. I know you need it. We'll cut you a break. I mean, there's a difference between having mercy and teaching somebody up in the way that they should go, and loving somebody enough to enact tough love once in a while.
Well, think about it like this, and I agree. I believe in second chances. Yeah. I absolutely do. People can change. I've seen it in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But think about it like this. Think about a great teacher you had, or a great coach, or a great, maybe it's one of your parents. Think about it like this. Think about who made you work, who was tough on you, who put some toughness in you. Then you think about who the best person was. What do you want to bet is the same person?
Yeah.
I think about when I played sports, my dad, he was tough on me. He'd dwell on what I did wrong. He was the first person to pat me on the back.
Yeah.
But he was the first person to tell me how bad I sucked. But I'll tell you what, I look back on it. How many dads weren't in the bleachers? How many dads weren't coaching?
Right.
And my dad was. And I think back to how lucky I was.
Yeah.
how lucky I was that my mom made me brush my teeth and comb my hair and made sure my clothes matched and made me do my own laundry. Maybe my dad, he'd open the hood of the truck and you tell me what that part is.
Yep.
I mean, he taught me how to change a tire. It was Cub Scouts, but I mean, it was he and I had a checklist of stuff. And I just think back like, man, I had the easiest childhood anybody could possibly have. Yeah, they weren't that tough. They just made sure I did my homework and I stayed out of trouble. What was so hard? And they enforced when they had to, but I learned pretty quick, and it's just kind of like, people call it tough love, but is it really? Or isn't it just saying, you know what? I'm going to let your behavior dictate what happens here.
Right.
Do your homework. There's consequences at school and at home.
Yeah.
That's like mean now. Oh, it's mean to enforce that. It's racist to make sure somebody's homework's done. That test is racist. The paper's too white. Or something. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think we can come up with a million examples here of the police, letting illegal aliens sell hot dogs on the street. No permit, no nothing.
Yeah.
But boy, you drive 42 and a 35, oh boy, they're going to go after you. You know why else too? Because you can pay the ticket.
Well, of course.
And you will pay it.
Oh, you bet.
I go cite Pablo for selling donuts. He'll just disappear and I'll never see him again.
For selling donuts.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I know it sounds bad but we gotta be able to have these conversations and not be afraid to say something. And I think so many people are bullied into silence. And that's
right.
They're bullied into not saying anything. Or they say something under their breath, or they say something in private, and they're afraid to say it out loud.
Well, that's how a lot of these racial tensions happen, Andrew. It is, how do I want to put this? When you let certain people get away with things that you can't get away with, there begins to build offense and animosity in there. Yes. And we have to be able to not only talk about these things, but also we have to be able to really equalize the playing field, and
but
we can't
solutions oriented.
Yeah. But I mean, there's the problem. We see it with everything. I mean, local government is about giving special favors, whether it is to minorities, whether it is to developers, whether it is
drawing districts.
Drawing districts, things that you can't park here, but all these people, they can take transit for free. Well, you should be taking transit. It's like
all government's like that, though. It's become all like that.
Mm-hmm.
The school system's become like that. Healthcare's become like that.
Right.
Emergency rooms are overrun with, you can want to call them undocumented. I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know what name you can say where you're not called a name in return. And it just, what is it? I feel impotent to do something about it. Like, no matter how much people complain about it, it just nothing changes.
Right.
So I mean, I don't even know the first step to do this. I mean, you watch somebody like President Trump come out and I'm going to enforce the law. I'm going to punish sanctuary cities because they're breaking the law, and all this opposition comes out like he's putting people. It's like I'm baffled at the common sense. How it's being, he fires some people in the Justice Department who are leaking to reporters.
Yeah.
And he's the chief. He runs it. He can fire who he wants.
Absolutely. It's his organization.
It's just, it's like anybody who tries to rock the boat. It's like people want change, but they don't want it. Or I don't know. Or people fall for the propaganda. I don't know what it is. And there's a lot of interests that are coming together to create this. I always say this: when business and government get together, we the people are the loser.
Yeah.
Business wants cheap labor. Government wants to look the other way. What do you think happens?
Cut corners.
They win every time.
Yeah.
Big business is in bed with big government. That's the absolute truth. Big business benefits from big government. just as much. Look at that knucklehead who runs Amazon.
Yeah.
He pays his employees so low so that they qualify for government benefits. You know, at Walmart, they will give you papers with directions and who to talk to, who to go down and see to sign up for government benefits. And they won't pay them more, or they won't make them full time because they don't want to pay for the benefits. I mean, what does that say? I mean, you might say, well, it's not their fault, it's the law. Well, true, but that's not capitalism.
No, and you won't change any hearts or minds if your attitude is, it's the law.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
going to buy a $100 million mansion for his mistress. The guy is from Amazon, that prick. And yet, won't give his employees a 20. I mean, it just makes it so hard. I've always defended capitalism. I've always defended that it's not government's job to decide how much money somebody should make. But how do you defend that?
Yeah.
Where do you even start by defending that? Yeah. You're a man of faith, Jay, so am I. Would you sit there and do that? I know what you'd do. Yeah. You'd give to charity, you'd give to the church. I would feel, this guy gives to charity to avoid paying taxes. I don't care about that. I mean, it's just, it makes it really difficult. I mean, remember what happened in New York about they were trying to make so Amazon wouldn't pay any taxes.
Right.
I had to agree with AOC. Which
I know.
paid me, but she was completely right, as incoherent as she was. She was right for the wrong reasons, I should say.
Yes.
But ultimately, it's like, come on. The Ma and Pa shop selling New York pizza that's been taxed to death by Michael Bloomberg, can barely make it. Their taxes raised every year, pays New York taxes on everything, which has got to be $1 gazillion.
Has to be.
And Amazon can go there and build for free? That's insane.
Yeah.
All right. We've given enough examples here, Jay, but I mean, the point, let me wrap this up real quick. The point is that, you can't have equality and at the same time have the rules not apply to everybody equally. The whole bedrock of it centers on that. And we're so far away from that right now. I don't and I hear, especially young people, repeating the rhetoric that you hear from the people who justify this. Or that, we owe it to somebody or something like that. And I'm pretty afraid for this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm pretty, because not only are there no consequences for the people who do this stuff, there's no consequences for elected officials who make it happen.
Yeah. And there's plenty of that too,
It's a nightmare. There's no other way to describe it. It's the breakdown of everything fundamental in this nation. And I don't think it's exaggerating to say that. I really don't.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, what do you do? Maybe it's not really hitting small towns so much yet, but...
hey, there's small towns with meth problems, with housing problems that are out getting their equitable housing plans.
Lots of equitable housing.
School districts. This is going into school districts everywhere, not just in the big cities. So the police, they're well, there might be a sheriff's office out there, but you never know what some crazy county attorney or something is going to not do. In fact, in the smaller towns, you might hear about it a lot less. So I don't know. You're right so far, but wouldn't surprise me. Hey, we got a bad meth problem out here. Well, we can't do anything about it, so we'll just not prosecute. You want a little meth in your sandwich at work? Well, we'll just not. I wouldn't know meth if it was in front of me.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is, to be honest. So you want to have a little bit of that on you? We'll just let it go, which just ensures that everybody's going to have a little bit on them. It's pretty much all that's going to happen.
Yeah,
so
that's it. So what do? You got to have strong laws, but you have laws like stop and frisk, and I think that goes overboard, because, again, you're singling out certain people, and you got to strike a good balance. But even having good laws, if you have people that are lawless, they're not going to abide by those laws. Perfect examples, a lot of these on-ramp meters that we got here around the metro, and I find that more people just blow through them now than ever before.
Guilty.
Yeah? Put you in the slammer.
No, I am not going to.
Cuff them and stuff 'em.
You're not going to enforce it, though. I asked Roscoe, and he said Boss Hogg's got him about doing jaywalking tickets right
Cuff
now.
them and stuff them. But I mean, this is the thing, and this is part of what I'm talking about, is that, we have to be able to monitor ourselves first and foremost, and we've got to want to do the right things. And if we don't want to do the right things, we're going to keep doing the wrong things. And so, because it's too overwhelming for some of these politicians to figure out something where they can still pander to these groups that they love so much, despite all of that, they choose the low road. It's okay, break the law, it doesn't matter.
Well, you got a lot of class, it's just all low.
Yeah, it's like they used to say on Fat Albert. Russell,
which could never play today.
Right. Russell would go, "That's NC, Fat Albert." "Oh, what's that, Russell?" "No class, Fat Albert." No class.
You got a Fat Albert quote.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Yeah, well, how come it's not on anymore? Oh, I wonder
Bill
why.
Cosby.
Well, it might
That's
be.
Why.
Well, I mean, you can still celebrate his work if you don't celebrate the person.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still got my Cosby Show DVDs somewhere. Yeah. Not on that mall, just the early ones. But
I've got Michael Jackson Thriller on vinyl.
Hey, it's on
somewhere.
Revenge of the Nerds, one of the greatest parts of the movie.
Yeah?
The party. The Wonder Joint.
Okay.
So, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, ultimately, where's the pendulum going here? And I say it's going in the wrong direction.
Right.
And it's going to take vigilance on the parts of citizens, and it's going to take vigilance and backbone on the part of people that we put in office. And if we don't have those two things, everybody, the dump that is Los Angeles, is going to be on all of us at some point. It might take 100 years for it to happen. I mean, it may.
Yeah.
But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Texas and Florida, those two states are lost. We got a one-party country.
Mm-hmm.
It could happen.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. But we'll see, and as long as our local governments keep excusing bad behavior, that's another thing. I mean, I know we should probably wrap up, but I mean, even looking locally again, you've got a place like New Hope where these young urban folk come in and disrupt the whole. I always get it confused. The Duck days, right? New Hope.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And now we're just not going to do it anymore. Yeah, we're going to come up with something else with a different name, and it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be any fun.
That's a great example.
And
it's such an example. They've had problems over at the Whiz Bang days too, at times, and they shut down the carnival now.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do that anymore. It's the same reaction.
Shut her down.
Right. I mean, there's been calls to stop the Crystal Frolics, and Crystal's had the backbone not to.
Right.
But I'll tell you what. I mean, I could see it happening at some point, and it's just sad that a city can't have a festival without a bunch of thugs coming in and destroying it for everybody. But it's a byproduct of the same thing. It's a byproduct of the same excuse making. As soon as people are of a certain race, all of a sudden, oh no, you can't prosecute, can't single them out. Mm-hmm. We don't know what their home life is like, blah blah blah, and it's the same BS over and over and over, and we get nowhere from it.
Right.
Oh.
Well, how do we fix this? First of all, we got to get ourselves right, and we got to ask ourselves a question though too, and that question is, what can I do? What can I give? And a lot of times we think about it, and it's like, well, I could give some money to a candidate that's running for office, or politics is not going to solve our problems. But if we get good people into office, we can sure make some strides. But to do that, we've got to become good first. But then we've got to realize that we can't sit on sidelines anymore. We've got to be able to do the things that are required of us. And that sometimes is on the honor system, unfortunately. And people aren't going to see if you do it right and do it wrong. But it's incumbent upon us to do it right.
Kind of reminds me of, I believe it was one of these Shakespeare. I think it was Hamlet. I think I read it. In the only thing I took out of it in college was that the lead character, I can't remember the name, finds a world of no moral value. But he still has personal values. He still has personal goals. Mm-hmm. He still has personal right and wrongs. So you can still have those, even if they're not preached and talked about and encouraged around you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, was it Hamlet? I think it was Hamlet.
I think so. I don't know if I read that whole thing. I might have.
Well, I had the Cleveland notes, so I got that part.
Well, that's good.
There was, what do you call it? Symbolism. There was that stuff in there. Yeah. I know all about that.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should be the one doing all the major writing.
I don't think so.
Oh, goodness. So, yeah. It's 2020. It's a big year. We got a lot of offices to fill. We got a lot of cities that need to have a change in government. If you're someone like we talked about, not someone looking for a release from the rules, but someone who actually wants to create fairness in the rules, and not fairness as they see it, where if you're hitting the check boxes, you don't have to play the same game everybody else plays, but fairness in that we're all playing the same game and we need to do it in the right way, then maybe you need to think about running for office. First get on an advisory commission, of course. Get your feet wet, learn how to govern at a local level, and then you move on from there. We need some of you who are more seasoned to step up to the plate. Get a hold of us. You can do that at commsolutionsmn@gmail.com. That's commsolutionsmn@gmail.com, and we can help you to get your stuff together and get organized and take a look at how we are going to work together here in this state to change things for the better. And I welcome you, whether you are white or black or, you're Hispanic or Asian or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is what we do with the opportunity that we're given. So, what do you say? There's some bad stuff going on out there, and we need you. And your neighbors need you. And I believe that we can do it. So get a hold of us. Tell us your story. Tell us if you want to get involved. Tell us. Ask us, if you know how we can help, and we'd love to. So thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We really appreciate it, and we can only keep doing this because you keep listening and you keep getting more people involved, and we're super grateful. So thank you so much. It's a long journey back to where things are set as they should be, but it's not an impossible journey. Well, thank you guys, and we love you. We love you, Minnesota. Now it's your turn to get to work.
Take my